Living in the end is one of the most important manifestation concepts that you can master that will completely change your life. So today I will give you a easy way that you can use to start living in the end. We will discuss what is living in the end and how it helps you manifest so much quicker. So if you're ready, let's dive in. Living in the end is a law of assumption concept that was talked about and taught by Neville Goddard to his students in the seminars that he used to have, where people used to get these wild crazy results. And I highly suggest you reading and listening to Neville's lectures that are easily available on YouTube, reading his books again easily and freely available on the internet. And that concept, living in the end, essentially was so life changing and so ahead of its time because current quantum physics is proving that the only reason why you see whatever you see in your reality is because you assume it's there, and it's because you're looking for it, and it's because you have accepted it to be real. If you did not know about the study, by the way, just go check out quantum physics explanation to why we are able to see electrons under an electron microscope, because an electron behaves both like wave and particle. It's there, but it's also not there, and it only manifests when you are looking for it. So an electron in an atom under a microscope is only going to appear if you're looking for it, right? And that literally explains how far ahead of its time Neville Goddard's living in the end was. What is living in the end? Living in the end, essentially, just like we talked about the electron experiment, where you see an electron only because you want to see it, only because you expect to see it, living in the end. And also, living in the end, so also you're seeing the electron because you expect it to be there, and you are living in that reality where you know that electrons are some things in the atom, so you see it, right? So that's exactly how living in the end was so far ahead of its time, so accurate. Living in the end essentially talks about living your life from the point or from the end point of already having your desire, living your life as if it's already there. The fun part here is that you don't have to make any lifestyle changes. You don't have to go out and spend money that you don't have, or talk about you having your desire to other people. That's not what we're talking about. Live your life in your mind, in your thoughts, in your visualizations, in your expectations of the future. You know, when you're thinking about like 15 days or 20 days from now, and some bill is coming up, and instead of living in your current reality where you worry, oh, I don't have the money, you live in the end and say, yeah, that bill's coming up, I'm going to be able to pay it because more and more money comes to me every single day. And that's living in the end. Thinking about your life, visualizing your life, acting in your life from the standpoint of already having it. Like I told you, the bill example. If you are trying to manifest money, one of the biggest issues that keeps money away from you is when you have bills to pay and you don't have the money yet and you start worrying. Worry is another way of living in the end, isn't it? You have accepted the reality that money is not going to show up. So you worry. You worry about missing the payment and all other stupidity that will arise because of missing that payment. That's living in the end. You're always doing it one way or the other. You're always thinking about your life, visualizing about future events based on a reality that you have assumed to be true. You're always doing that. The bill example is a prime example, that you know that in 20 days you will not have the money based on your current reality right now. So you worry. Is that not living in the end? That is living in the end. We are all doing it at all times. So, how to properly live in the end? I already gave you an example. A bill's coming up, you think. You visualize that you're going to have the money to pay for it. And you don't worry, it's going to be there because that's what you're visualizing. And your mind is creating your reality. Your mind is the co creator along with the universe. You place an order and it has to be delivered to you. But you place your order with your thoughts and your visualizations and your expectations out of life. And your expectations are again caused by what you think and what you visualize. So you place an order for your dream reality, for the reality that you want to live in every single time, every single moment when you are thinking thoughts, when you are visualizing a possible outcome. So if you want to rig the game of life, like Florence Scovel used to say, the game of life and how to win it. If you want to rig the game of life, start learning how to place the correct orders, which means start living in the end. Start thinking about your life and visualizing your life, not just your current life, but future events that you expect to happen. The bills, the payments, the places that you're going to go to, the things that you're going to buy, all sorts of things in your mind. Think about them and visualize about them from the standpoint of already having it. And that's how you will place the correct order to the universe. That's how you will live in the end. It's every single moment you think about your life as if your dream reality is here, as if your person is here, as if the money is here, the clients are here, the fame is here, the good health is here. Make plans for the future based on your dream reality, not your current reality. In fact, this is a fun game I like to play. That if there's an event coming up in the future, I think about it from the standpoint of having what I desire. So, the kind of things that I will buy based on having my desire, the kind of clothes I would wear, the makeup I'd do, the things I would buy based on having the desire, not based on my current reality. It has no bearing. I told you in a video in the past that your power is in the now, and your past is not predicting your future. Your current thoughts are creating and predicting your future. So, whatever you think right now is creating your future. So, in which end do you want to live? Because we are always living in the end, some end. Like I told you with the bill example, if you think and worry that you're not going to be able to pay that bill, you are believing in the reality and you have an assumption and you expect to not have the money. So, how will the money show up to you if in your most deepest thoughts, if you don't expect to have the money, how will it show up for you? It won't, because you're living in the wrong end. You're living in the reality of not having money. We are all always living in an end. So, starting right now, I want you to focus on living in the right end, the end that is your dream reality. Because again and again, I'll tell you, we are always living in one end or the other. Oftentimes, we are doing it subconsciously. That's why we keep creating similar kinds of experiences in life, and that's why we have the lack we have right now, because we are approaching our reality from an end point where we don't have our desire. And you've got to change that. That's living in the end. And Neville was so far ahead of his time when he discovered this, because this is so coherent with the scientific findings that you are seeing a reality only because you want to see it based on how you visualize your life to be. So if you want your reality to change how you visualize, how you think about your reality, and what you expect to happen. Every single time you catch yourself thinking something that's the wrong end, change it. Change it. Your predominant thoughts manifest. One single negative thought is not going to do anything. If you are predominantly thinking from the right end, if you're predominantly living in the right end, you're going to get to the right end. That's literally living in the end. So thank you so much for joining me here today. Subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed yet. By the way, I'm Neha Kumar. So subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed yet. Comment Master Manifestor, like this video, share this video, and to book personal coaching, check my pinned comment or the description box for all the details, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.